So the third episode of The Penguin has been released on Max, and it looks like the show is getting better every single week. It was a superb third episode from director Craig Zobel, giving us the beginning of Oz and Sofia's plan together, and more details on Victor and what happened to him during the events of the Batman's flooding. So in this explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of The Penguin episode 3, titled Bliss, discussing full plot details, the ending, and much more. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my analysis. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my future content surrounding the Penguin series, the Batman saga, and other upcoming DC projects, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for the Penguin episode 3. So in episode 3 of The Penguin, named Bliss, we witness the emergence of a sinister partnership between Oz Cobb and Sofia Falcone. Following the events of episode 2, where Oz enlisted Vic's help to pin the murder of Alberto Falcone on Johnny Viti, things took an unexpected turn. Sofia, determined to uncover a traitor in her ranks, brought in a detective for the investigation, and this left Oz scrambling for a new plan, ultimately leading to Sofia's bodyguard Castillo being the one to take the blame for the crime he actually committed. This brings us to the beginning of episode 3, which opens with something I predicted in my trailer breakdown last week. And that is a flashback scene that is set during the final act of the Batman. We find Victor preparing for a meetup with his crush Graciela. He promises to join her on the rooftops after he stops by his family apartment to drop off a few items. While there, he attempts to persuade his father to get a better job, but his efforts fall flat. Soon after, Victor reunites with his friends, including Graciela, on the rooftop of a nearby building. And just as they share a heartfelt moment, chaos erupts as the Riddler's bombs explode near the seawall throughout Gotham. As we know from the Batman, it unleashed a catastrophic flood, but the start of The Penguin episode 3 shows that it devastates Victor's family home and likely kills his family inside. This poignant flashback lays the groundwork for Victor's sorrow and shows exactly why he turned to the life he's living now. While we learn that he and his dad had some disagreements, Victor's family life appeared mostly stable. Yet similar to a lot of characters in Reeves' Gotham world, tragedy propels them into unforeseen circumstances and choices they didn't think they would make. After learning about Victor's backstory at the beginning, we come back to the present. In Oz's apartment, he brings Victor up to speed on his temporary partnership with Sofia, anticipating that Luca Falcone will handle her once he realizes she's playing both sides. Oz has moved past the kid's failure to stash the jewels in Viti's car, assuring him that they should move forward, but that he will be keeping a close eye on him. Sofia then arrives just as Oz receives a call from Salvatore Maroni, who reveals to him that Viti has put the entire Falcone family under lockdown. So poor Victor has to then greet Sofia and answer her about his connection to Oz. He struggles to do so, but during their brief conversation, Sofia reveals to Vic that Oz used to be her driver. Oz then enters the room and Sofia asks him to drive her like he did in the past, leaving Victor to stay back. Sofia and Oz arrive at one of the Falcone family's shipping facilities, and Oz is taken aback when he discovers that the products have come from Arkham. He challenges Sofia, expressing his belief that this was all part of her brother's scheme. And as they step into the lab, Oz's confusion deepens upon seeing various drugs being manufactured, including mushrooms. He learns that the mushrooms are merely a tool for harvesting their spores, which are being utilized to develop a brand new stimulant. Sofia tells Oz that this new drug is called Bliss, the title of this week's episode, and instructs him to locate a distributor who can bring it to the streets of Gotham. It was a drug she tried at Arkham and one that she thinks people will be begging for. In the meantime, back at Oz's apartment, Victor makes his first call to Graciela since the night of the flooding. He invites her over, and when she arrives, it becomes clear that she has no idea about Victor's deep involvement in the criminal world. She had thought he was simply working as a driver for a club owner. Graciela eventually shares her plans to leave Gotham for California and urges Victor to come with her, but he hesitates, unsure if Oz would allow him to go, and expresses his concerns for his own safety if he attempts to leave. Despite Graciela's heartfelt pleas for him to come along, Victor hands her some money that Oz recently gave him, asking her to buy a bus ticket and promising that he will leave Gotham with her. So as the fragile trust between Oz and Sofia hangs by a thread, Victor is filled with anxiety himself. We're rooting for him to escape with her, but his loyalty to Oz has resulted in him feeling like he has more purpose since his family died in the Gotham floods. Graciela leaves the apartment and we feel just as conflicted as Vic. The following day at the Falcone estate, Sofia encounters Viti, who presents her with a plane ticket to Italy. She doesn't want what Luca Falcone is urging her to do, and so Viti labels her as mentally unstable. Keeping this in mind, she continues moving ahead with Oz, using the Bliss drug she introduced to him. She meets up with Oz in Chinatown, where he suggests forming an alliance with the Triad crime syndicate by bribing their deputy. As they step into the Triad's club, Sofia's firearm is promptly taken away, but Oz manages to persuade the deputy to have his men lower their weapons. And while Victor waits anxiously outside in Oz's car with a box full of the Bliss inside, a police officer suddenly pulls up and instructs him to exit the vehicle. While it's an equally tense moment for him outside, Vic quickly devises a plan, offering a bribe with the cash he has left, and his quick thinking persuades the officer to let him go. Back inside the club, Oz and Sofia share their ambitious scheme to take control of the Falcone crime family with that deputy. When he presses for more details, they fabricate a story claiming that Viti is supporting their endeavour. Even after this though, the deputy remains skeptical, insisting that they need to arrange a call from Viti to Feng Zhao, the leader of the Triad. So that evening, Oz and Victor enjoy a meal at a fancy restaurant, and it's here where Oz puts the next step of his plan in motion. Before we get to that, Vic is contemplating how to break the news to Oz about his intention to leave Gotham with Graciela. As they chat, Victor shares stories about his father's life as a mechanic and reflects on how he never achieved his aspiration of becoming a chef. They both get emotional here, and Oz uses this moment to further highlight that his father would be proud. But of course Vic and his father would think the opposite. Following their discussion though, Oz's gaze shifts to Tina, Luca Falcone's wife, and the woman who Viti is having an affair with, dining at a nearby table. He makes his way over to her and requests a favour. A little while later, Oz and Sofia enter Viti's hotel room, aiming to catch him in a compromising situation with Luca's wife. They confront Viti and blackmail him into contacting Feng Zhao. However, Viti takes time to do so, mocking them throughout their encounter. In response, Oz resorts to physical intimidation, insisting that Viti will make that call. We come back to the Triad's club later on, where Oz, Sofia and Eve direct Eve's girls, along with Victor, to start distributing the Bliss. After they leave, Sofia takes Oz aside, indicating that she intends to take charge of the situation since Zhao is meeting with them due to her involvement. Although Zhao acknowledges Sofia's management skills, he expresses concern about the high stakes involved, given the Triad's fraught history with the Falcones and Sofia's time at Arkham. Sofia attempts to sway him by discussing their mutual disdain for her father. She also explains that Bliss was administered to her and the other inmates at the asylum. But still skeptical, he remains unconvinced. It's when she reveals to him that she has researched her father that he changes his mind. She concludes her pitch by stating that if he declines, she and Oz will simply take this opportunity to another crime family. Over on the dance floor, while handing out the Bliss drug, Victor's phone buzzes with multiple messages from Graciela, who is waiting for him at the bus station. Suddenly, he is overwhelmed by a panic attack, triggered by the music and lights of the club, sending him spiraling back to the day the Riddler's bombs exploded. He hurriedly makes his way to the bathroom just as another text from Graciela pops up, reminding him that the bus is about to leave. And just when he's about to reply to her, Oz bursts in with the news that the Triads have accepted the deal. Very quickly though, his attention shifts to Victor's phone and the messages he has received. Oz is angered by this and forces Victor to confess about not feeling like he fits into this line of living. The tension escalates when Oz pulls out his gun, pressing it against Victor's head. Oz insists that without their current work, neither Victor nor his family will leave a mark on this world. In the end, he allows Victor to walk away and make his own choice. And when Victor drives to the train station in Oz's car, he watches Graciela board the bus without him. He's heartbroken, but clearly he's made the decision to stay. And this brings us to the ending of episode 3, where things really get heated for both Oz and Sofia Falcone. Outside the club, Oz tells Sofia about the deal with the Triad, but their conversation turns to their complicated past. Sofia accuses Oz of using her to climb the ranks, insisting he will never achieve the status above her. Oz confesses that he has no regrets about betraying her to Carmine, as it granted him greater influence within the family. But he does express his sorrow for what she endured, unaware that Carmine had plans to send her to Arkham Asylum. So Sofia admits her struggle to trust him, but Oz is vowing to prove her wrong. But right as their personal issues begin to disappear, the Maronis arrive to give them more to deal with. Nadia, or Salvatore's wife, along with her men, confronts them at gunpoint, revealing her knowledge of Oz's deceit in that he never intended to repay them. And just when it looks like they would not escape this situation, Victor arrives back at the club in Oz's plum car and comes crashing in. He essentially provides a crucial distraction for them. The episode concludes with Oz jumping into the passenger seat, instructing Victor to drive away, leaving Sofia behind. So this raises the possibility that Sofia was either captured by the Maronis or managed to escape on her own. And while the outcome of her situation remains uncertain, it seems like it's one that will create a rift between her and Oz, given that he chose his own safety over hers. But that was my breakdown and analysis for The Penguin episode 3. Overall, I think it's the best episode we've had yet, and everything from the performances to the story to individual scenes is just being built upon perfectly. I was worried that when flashback scenes would be integrated into The Penguin, that the momentum the show had may be derailed. But I was completely wrong, because they tied into the events of the flooding really well and used it to serve the character of Victor. It gives me complete faith in them for when they do flashbacks for Oz and Sofia's characters, which they have teased in many of the trailers. Also, episode 3's shared scenes between Colin Farrell and Cristin Milioti have made their relationship even more fascinating, and it really highlights the two powerhouse performances at the very centre. It's an excellent show that has built its own identity within the Batman saga, and I can't heap enough praise for the director, the performers, and the production team, who seem to be topping themselves every week. But I do hope this breakdown did help some of you guys understand the episode and the main details a bit better, and overall, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comments section. Like I said in my previous Penguin video, I will be on holiday until the middle of next week, so my trailer breakdown and explained video for episode 4 will not be coming. However, when I do get back, I will be doing a trailer breakdown for episode 5 and covering every new episode afterwards. For much more videos and news on the Batman universe and DC, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.